My life was a schedule. Wake up, green tea, work, quiet dinner, a book. Predictable. Comfortable, I thought. But my comfort zone vaporized on a Wednesday morning at 6:45 a.m. The sound wasn't a car. It was a hiccup. I thought it was a neighbor's dog. Maybe a pest? I stalked to the door. I was irritated. My morning meditation was ruined. I yanked the door open. It wasn't a dog. It was a carrier. A heavy, dark blue plastic carrier sitting right on my welcome mat. And inside, a baby. A tiny, sleeping human bundled in a gray blanket. My heart didn't just drop, it stopped. For one eternal second, the world went silent. Tucked into the blanket, there was a small, folded piece of paper. It looked like it was ripped from a receipt book. My hand was shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I unfolded it. 5 words, scrawled quickly in black pen. No punctuation, just these 5 words. Take care of your grandson. Grandson? My son, David, he was 24. We hadn't talked in months, not since he moved across the country to find himself with his girlfriend, Maya. I hated that name. I didn't even know they were serious, let alone had a child. A child they didn't tell me about. A child that was now left on my porch like discarded mail. My mind raced. Was this a trick? A mistake? Did someone get the wrong house number? I peered out at the street. Empty. Cold. No running cars, no lights. Just me and this sudden, heavy secret. He opened his eyes. They were dark, serious, and just staring up at me. And that was it. The moment the panic cooled and something else took over. Responsibility. And maybe a tiny electric jolt of being a grandmother. I brought him inside. The first thing I did wasn't call the police. It wasn't call David. The first thing I did was freeze. I walked around the dining room holding this little boy. He felt so fragile. I raised one child 20 years ago. I thought I'd forgotten everything. I think I did. I was a disaster. Now, I was suddenly a solo caretaker. No instructions, no manual. In the carrier, thankfully, they left supplies. A few diapers, a bottle already mixed with milk, and another note. This one was taped to the bottle. His name is Finn. He is 6 months old. Give this ham now. Finn, my grandson. The reality hit me hard, but the clock was ticking. I had 3 immediate, terrifying problems to solve, and they all started with a baby who was now wide awake and staring at me. Problem 1, David, my son. Did he know he was a father? Was he here? Problem 2, the mother, Maya. Why did she abandon her child? Was she safe? Problem 3, the law. You cannot just accept a found child. You just can't. I knew I had to call David, but I put it off. The truth? I was afraid of the truth. If he knew about Finn and left him anyway, that was pure betrayal. If he didn't know, that meant the danger came from Maya. I pulled up his number. It rang once, twice, then the generic voice message, "You know what to do." I hung up. I couldn't tell him this over the phone. "Hello, son, your ex-girlfriend just dropped off your secret child on my porch." No, I needed to know who left him. Finn started to fuss. He was restless. I picked up the pre-mixed bottle. It was cold. I frantically searched for the microwave. I heated it slightly too much, then cooled it with cold water. Total chaos. My kitchen, usually pristine, was now a war zone of cold milk and baby spit up. I got the bottle to him. He was desperate. His tiny fingers grabbed my thumb. In that instant, watching him drink, I forgot the fear. I forgot about David. I forgot the mystery. There was only the small, hungry life and the sudden fierce need to protect him. But the peace didn't last. The reality was a punch in the gut. I was an instant, full-time parent again. My house wasn't ready. No high chair, no play mat, no diaper pail. The panic came back, but this time it was sharp and focused. I wasn't going to call social services yet. Not until I talked to David. Not until I tried to find Maya. I needed answers, and the only person who had them was the person who was nowhere to be found. I called my friend Claire. She's a social worker. I kept the details vague. If a baby is left with a grandparent, what are the rules? She gave me the official line. You need to contact authorities within 48 hours. She warned me, Martha, you have a short window. Use it to ensure this child is not in danger. That was my deadline. I had 2 days. I bundled him up. I had to go shopping. This was my first time in public as an emergency grandmother. In car vlog style, I am currently driving to the 24-hour superstore. This is surreal. Every time I hit the brakes, I check the rearview mirror. I feel like everyone knows, like they're judging the fact that my entire backseat is now filled with baby gear I brought 10 minutes ago. I need everything. Everything. The store was a blur. I bought all the baby things. More diapers, a car seat, a bouncy chair, 3 kinds of soothing wipes. The total was shocking. But you don't haggle when you are buying stability for a vulnerable life. Back home, I set up the car seat. It was a nightmare. The instructions were written by a maniac. 20 minutes turned into 40. 40 minutes turned into me using a screwdriver where I shouldn't have been. Finally done. I placed Finn in it. He looked up at me confused. He was tired again. It was the only time I had to think. VO, serious. I knew I had to go to David's old apartment. Calling wasn't working. I needed to see his space, see if he left a message. I wrote a quick note for Finn, placed it where he could see it, and told the tiny, wide-eyed baby I'd be back quickly. David's old apartment was a trendy new complex an hour away. The drive felt endless. I kept checking my watch. I kept thinking about Finn alone. Was this abandonment? I was risking Claire's 48-hour rule just to drive out here, but I had to find the answer. I got to his building. It was clean, quiet. I buzzed his apartment. No answer. I buzzed the manager. Nothing. The anxiety in my chest was crippling. I walked up to his door. I noticed his nameplate was removed, but there was a large, brightly colored sticker on the door. A sticker for a moving company. VO, whisper. The sticker wasn't the weird part. It was the address written on it. Not his new apartment in the city, but an address back here, local. And then I saw it. Tucked under the sticker, a business card. I pulled it free. It was a pediatrician's card. And on the back, another message, scrawled quickly in pink lipstick. Get help.
Get help? What did that mean? Was Maya in trouble? Was Finn in danger? I tried the handle. Locked. I looked around. No neighbors. No help. I called Claire, the social worker, back. I told her everything. The baby, the note, the moving sticker, the words, get help. She was quiet for a minute. Then she said, Martha, this is not a random act. This is a cry for help. The mother is likely in crisis. You need to find her now. I got back into my car. I couldn't go to the police yet. If Maya was in trouble, I wanted to find her before the authorities did. I needed a clue. I drove home in a fog. The house smelled like baby lotion and fresh linen. Finn was still calm. I sat next to him, staring at him, this little boy who was the focal point of a drama I couldn't understand. I started searching the carrier again. I went through the linings, the pockets. I was looking for anything, a receipt, a tag, an address, and I found it, tucked deep into the zipper lining of the carrier's changing pad. A tiny, dried flower petal. It wasn't just any petal. It was from a rare variety of rose that only grew at the botanical gardens outside the city. I remembered Maya talking about that garden. She volunteered there years ago. This was it, a thread. It wasn't David. It was Maya, the person who left the baby, the person who knew the secret. I decided, before the 48 hours were up, I was going to that garden. The botanical gardens were massive. I drove to the volunteer office. The woman there was young, cheerful. I showed her the tiny petal. "Ma'am, I know this is a long shot, but I need to know who was working with the rare roses recently. Her name is Maya." She looked at the petal. Then she looked at me. Her expression changed, not to cheerfulness, but to a serious, closed look. "Ma'am, I know that petal. It's from a bush in the conservatory. Maya hasn't worked here in 3 months. She left suddenly, but she did send an email. She said she was going back to her sister's farm." Farm? I had a new, confusing lead. I asked for contact information. She hesitated. "I can't give you her address, but the farm. I remember the sister's name. It was Sarah." Sarah? And a farm? I drove to the nearest small-town coffee shop. I searched social media for Sarah and farm in this region. I found a profile, a picture of 2 young women. One was Maya. The caption read, "My sister's new wellness retreat, the Gilded Willow." The Gilded Willow. A retreat. Get help. Maya was sick or struggling. David was likely still oblivious, living his new life. And Finn was safe for now. I had to risk it all. I was not calling the police until I looked Maya in the eye. I drove out of the city. 2 hours later, I was on a dirt road. A small sign read, "The Gilded Willow." It was a cluster of rustic cabins around a main lodge. It looked isolated. I parked my car, checking on Finn, who was asleep. I walked up to the lodge. The door was unlocked. I walked in. The main room was empty, quiet. I heard a sound from the back, a quiet, rhythmic sobbing. I followed the sound to a small enclosed porch, and sitting there, wrapped in a blanket, was Maya. She looked tiny, fragile, and utterly broken. I said, "Maya, I'm David's mother, Martha. How did you find me? Is he okay?" "Finn is safe. He's in my car. He's warm. But I need to know why you did this. Why did you leave your son?" "He's not mine, Martha. He's David's. I found him." "What are you talking about? You're the mother?" "No. I left David 6 months ago. He was seeing someone else, a girl from his new job. I broke up with him, moved back here, and started healing. Last week, a baby carrier was left on my porch. It had a note that said, 'Take care of your grandson, D.' David was the one who left the baby. He found out he was a father by another woman and left the child with his ex-girlfriend. And when Maya realized she couldn't handle it, maybe because the other woman was his new serious partner, she panicked and brought him to the only remaining family, me. And the get help note? I left that for David. I thought he was still at his old apartment. I didn't know where else to put the baby. I thought if he got the baby, he would at least have to get help for his own mistakes. I'm exhausted, Martha. I haven't slept in days. I came to my sister's retreat to recover." "And David? Where is he now?" "He's in Vancouver. He's been working on a big project. He's completely unreachable. He thinks I'm still trying to ruin his life." My son, a coward. He took a child from a desperate mother, dumped him on his ex, and ran. He was safe and oblivious. Maya was the victim. And Finn? He was the consequence. I said, Maya, I didn't call the police. I drove here to find you. The 48 hours are ticking. We need a plan, a proper legal plan. You're the only person who knows what really happened. We need to find that real mother. I spent the next hour sitting on that porch, talking. Maya told me the full, messy story. The other woman, the confrontation, David's denial. She agreed to come back with me. She was still unstable, but she was a crucial witness. I called Claire. I explained everything. The new mother, David's unbelievable betrayal. Claire said, "Bring 'em both home, Martha. The baby and Maya. Maya needs a safe place. You're gonna need a lot of support. We'll start the legal search for Finn's biological mother first thing tomorrow." I didn't just find a grandson on my doorstep. I found a truth. My son was not the man I thought he was, but in his place, I found my own strength. My quiet life was over, and I wouldn't trade the new, necessary fight for anything. Maya said, "I don't know how to thank you for believing me." I said, "We protect our own, Maya. Now let's go get our boy." So that's where we are. Finn is currently asleep in his borrowed car seat. Maya is finally resting in the guest room. I have a long, painful phone call to make to my son, David. That conversation, that's a video all on its own. But this is just the start. Finn's real mother is still out there, possibly in need. David has to be held accountable, and Maya is now part of my life. This story is just getting started. If you want to see the conversation with David, if you want to know if he admits the truth, if he runs from his responsibility, or if he finally steps up, you have to let me know. Hit the button down below, drop a comment, and tell me how I should start the call when I tell him you have a son named Finn and I know everything. We're in this crazy story together now. I'll see you in the next part.